Rishus chaverim v'yedidim. It's tremendous simcha to sit, we take it for granted, to sit with chaverim v'yedidim and all those that are b'richuk makom v'kir v'alev. This week the Svarim say, Kol shitin yoyim v'inam mizbarchim minei. The koyach of all the ashpoas of the week come from Shabbos Kodesh. So for a few minutes we're going to learn a little hachana. This week is Erev Purim. We'll learn some hachanas for the great Zman of Ba'aleinu L'Tayva. You see in the Svarim the greatness, the original writes, Yoim Purim, Yoim Kippur is called Yoim Kippurim. So the greatness of this day. There's a Lashon of a Sefer Tur Barekes. He brings, this is from the Kabbalah Svarim, he brings a Murdik Lashon, he brings from the Arizal. He says, Chazal said that the or that's Miskala, wait to see revealed, the or that's Miskala, Beshuster Shlita, the or that's Miskala on Purim is a tremendous Lashon he writes. He writes the greatest or for Nagans Yor. He writes, Adei Kriyas and Megillah Miskala Orat, tremendous oiris on Miskala B'Shas on the day of Purim. The Chidusharim writes, that's why you feel, sometimes you feel it in Lakewood, the day of Purim is a special day, and when it leaves, it goes back to normal. There's a special something in the air. Now anything that there is in the Ruchniistic world, as always in the Gashmiistic world. So there's a tremendous expectation that people, you go into yeshivas, and everyone here has the memory of being in yeshivas, the expectation of a Purim, and the excitement of a Purim. I remember it. I remember coming from Edison, coming to Lakewood on Purim. You always felt like, I always felt I was missing out. You run to this shul, then you run to the next shul. A tremendous person searching for his man aliyah. And as a person gets older, sometimes it seems like Purim, it's his time, it's yeshiva bachrim yom tov. When a person gets a little older, the obligations get, person Baruch Hashem is zeichet to have a family. How does a person have a Purim of aliyah? That the Zman should be a special Zman of Simcha. Zok the Rambam Azor. Mutav laadam laharבות במתנות אביונים, מלהרבות בסעודתו ובשלוח לרעיו. The Rambam puts together, and it's not for now in numbness of understanding it, but the Rambam puts together two mitzvahs, מתנות אביונים and shlach manos, which would seem that the two mitzvahs have something in common. The Ritva says the mitzvah מתנות אביונים is not the regular tzedakah, it's a mitzvah of simcha. So there's two mitzvahs. And a person has a child, which one? She should be a marba, and which of the two? Zok the Rambam, she'en simcha gdולה ומפוארה. A person wants simcha. And I'm searching for simcha this yom tov. Ein simcha mefupara, לשמח לב עניים ויתומים ואלמנות. שנאמר, Zok the Rambam, that a person does this, doime l'shchina, Shahachis ruach shvolem ulahachis leib nitkoy. What does the Eibishter do? The Eibishter is mechaya, the tzibroch in a mensch. And a person has an outlook going into Purim. I want to have a successful Purim this year. I want to have a happy Purim. Dr. Rambam, ein simcha gdoila mefupara, l'sameach leib aniyim v'yisoyim. The Svasemis writes, Dr. Svasemis, Umordcha tzadik holach b'chol yoyim v'yoyim. It says b'chol yoyim v'yoyim mordcha misalach. Every day Mordcha went, Liras Shloime Shal Esther. Zokta Svasemis, that she was a Yisoyma, and she was with Tzara Tvisa, Bebeis Nachri. Zokta B'schus Zeh Zochel Enes. Why was Mordcha Zochel and Esther be al Yoda? Because it was an almana, and every single day, for years and years, Ka'arba V'chom Shonim, for 4 or 5 years, Mordcha Tzadik went every day to find out how is this Yisoyma doing. A person has an outlook going into Purim. Ein simcha mefupara l'sameach lev aniyim. So Chazal gave us a mitzvah, the mitzvah matanos l'avyonim. Maral writes matanos l'avyonim. It's not called tzedakah. It's called matanos l'avyonim. Matanos zok the Maral get mitzvah brudim. So a person has an outlook. Today I'm going to help my brother. And so Baruch Hashem, we have a lot of gabbai tzedakahs, and Baruch Hashem people are mahaver to give money for matanos l'avyonim. But sometimes you see miyuchad by Purim, Chazal on an attitude of Shloi Levayish Esmi She'en. Many pshatim in ganze shlach manos is everyone to give shlach manos to everyone to make sure even the person who doesn't have a shemzach, the person that's embarrassed, should get. A person puts in some effort and thinks to himself, who is a person that I could be misameach and give matanos aviונים to this person? Maybe shaloi, a person won't know about it. Someone he works with, someone he knows, someone in his family. Still I hate. So the person will have the feeling on this Purim, I was mahana someone. Einayim shel aniyim. Many families today, Einayim shel aniyim, Pesach's coming, Yidden have tremendous hitzos. Einayim shel aniyim, Nesuas l'mikra Megillah. And a person has an attitude. Who can I be mesameach? How can I be mesameach a Yid this Yom Tov? And a Yid goes into the mitzvah of shlachmonos. Somehow the mitzvah of shlachmonos, Baruch Hashem, the Noshim Tzidkonius do a tremendous avodah in this mitzvah. And somehow it becomes a mitzvah. It shouldn't be an oil for a person. The Rambam writes, a person that gives the more shlachmonos, kol marba reisa meshubach. And a person is trying an outlook. I want to be marba ava va'ava v'reis. I want to be marba reis. What is the ikka mitzvah? It's a machlokes. The Bach writes that the ikka mitzvah of shlachmonos is for a person's good you did. The Bach says that dvar pella, as a person gets older, he understands it's better. The Bach writes, remember when my Rebbe said this in 10th grade in my Simcha box, he said, you're spending so much time with friends. He says, in a few years from now, you're not going to remember these people. I thought then in 10th grade, I thought, Rebbe, what do you mean? These are my best friends, except for Baruch Hashem, Eli Garfinkel, I know for 40 years. Most of them, you don't even remember who they are. You don't know who they are. And a person thinks he has many, many friends. Dr. Bach, a person, Chazal said, only one shlachmonos. Because it's hard to find an emes friend. And the Bach writes that a person gives shlachmonos, he writes the tam shlachmonos, they should semeach v'sochim oyev overeyav. And it's hard to find the Briskerov and the Charkov Rov was nifta. Briskerov said, I don't know, how many be mekayim shlachmonos. So if the person goes to his good chavrei, and he gives shlachmonos to that chavrei to be marba ava v'reis. The other outlook, the other attitude, the Pel Yoyitz writes, and the Mort Cheshua brings from the Beruchim. The Beruchim used to say it a lot. A person davens in a shul, and there's somebody that he got into a little fight which he doesn't even remember what he's fighting about. There's someone that he just a neighbor that got into some disagreement. Zokta Pel Yoyitz, go to that person. Great to see Rabbi Birnbaum and bring shlachmonos to their mensch. Bring shlachmonos to the person that for some reason you had a little argument with, and be marba ava v'reis. Be marba with that person. So Baruch Hashem, the Noshim Tzidkonius, I'm not saying this for ladies. Ladies, Noshim Tzidkonius, they, Baruch Hashem, the Mahader and the Mitzvah, they put an effort, they make a nice shlachmonos. But it's a Mavur in the Rambam, that the Iker shlachmonos is to give something for a Suda. And this is something, Baruch Hashem, we live in a generation in the door, Baruch Hashem, a tremendous ribui, beautiful meat platters, beautiful sushi platters, wonderful, wonderful things. A person thinks to himself, now this is something that some people have. Many people in Lakewood don't have meat platters. Many people in Lakewood don't have beautiful bottles of wine. A person thinks to himself, is there one person I could bring a shlachmonos? Me, not my wife. I'm going to go before Purim, I'm going to buy her something nice. I'm going to think, who's a family that if I would bring them a nice meat platter, everybody says, there's so much food in the house. That's true. But there's many people that there's not so much food in the house. Many people don't have the fanciest meat by their Suda. And a person thinks, is there one person I could bring them something nice for their Suda, will they enjoy it? That's one, the Ritzvah, the Berlocha brings the Ritzvah, the Ikka mitzvah is to give Adava Choshev. The Zweite mitzvah is that's the Iker of our shlachmonos. And Hagam, everybody says today, shlachmonos, it's so extra, so much food goes to the garbage. Every person, I believe this, or maybe not everyone, 90% of people, the Maisa, they come home and they look, who gave me shlachmonos? The person looks, who gave me shlachmonos? And most of the shlachmonos we give are obligations. So the Reuven gives Shimon, and he gives his sister, he gives his brother. These are all obligations. A person puts in some effort and thinks to himself, who can I bring shlachmonos to? Maybe I could bring shlachmonos to someone who nobody's bringing shlachmonos to. And there's plenty people like that. A person puts in effort. How many people are sitting at home? How many people are sitting at home on Purim and they'd be so happy somebody comes to their house? I had an interesting story. I had a few years ago, I was here in Lotsk, and I was learning, and I said an embarrassing story. I'm so embarrassed to say over the story. I was young in Edison collecting. That was the first years of collecting. I went collecting in Edison. And we had a whole list of houses. This was the first years of collecting. It was a small little town. There weren't so many people collecting. We went to one house collecting. The neighbors, the kids' neighbors at that house, they said, come dance in our house. And I'm embarrassed to say, we didn't go in because he wasn't on our list. We had a tremendous pressure to make money. And I was saying, halavai, there'd be a group to go around that would have the money for a group to go around. Just go be Mesameach Yidin. A very early Yid, a tzaddik, I don't know if he wants me to say his name, he called me this year, already it's a year or two, he called me, do me a favor, I want to pay for a group that's going to go around just to sing and dance in people's houses. And each one of us, when it comes to Shlach Manos, if we put in some effort, I want to read a letter. Shui Goldberg gave me this letter. I think there's a newspaper called the FJJ, a Flatbush newspaper. Listen to this letter written by Baruch Tziviak. Any old Lakers remember Baruch Tziviak. He writes like this. On Purim, my family gives Shlach Manos to a number of people who visit us for Shabbos meals. Last year, for whatever reason, I went to Lake with Ched, it's hard for me to read English. We didn't go to everyone in our list. After Purim, one of our guests sent the following note, which I saved. Hey, you missed your Shlach Manos this year. You know, it's funny how Hashem works. Yours was the only one I received since my divorce 6 years ago, except for this one guy who sends me Shlach Manos. And this year, you didn't come, and my niece brought me wild. The writer of this note is a frum Yid, normal and living in the middle of Flatbush. How many Yidden are there in Lakewood that would write the same letter? I live in Lakewood, and for whatever reason, I don't have family, or whatever reason, I'm alone, and no one brought me Shlach Manos. A person puts in some effort. This Rambam, the Rambam writes, Ein Simcha Mefooara l'Sameach Leiv Aniyim. A person wants Simcha. Simcha is not about me having a great time. Where could I go have a great time? Where could I go listen to this singer or that singer? A person will come into the Sudas Purim. The Sudas Purim is from the highest times of the year. Nichnas Yain, Yotze Soy, the Kotzke says, that when Yidden drink together, that's the opposite of Goyim. When Yidden drink together, it brings a tremendous achdus. But a person that prepared himself a whole day, if a person can walk into the Sudas Purim, and he has that feeling. Today, I spent my day being mechazik people. I spent my day, I thought about other people. And today, Einayim Shel Aniyim, Yidden don't need necessarily so much the candies you give them. A nice word. You walk into your son's Rebbe and you say, a nice, and you ask him to be a Rebbe. A nice who has patience for their own children. Somebody has patience for somebody else's children. How many good words could a person, how many people would they love to hear you tell someone about their child? You tell a child about their parent. You tell the child, you tell the Zayda about their family. A person has an outlook. I'm going into this Purim. My goal is, how many people could I be Mesameach this Purim? Who could I think of this Purim? And a person has in mind the picture. Ein Simcha Mefooara l'Sameach Leiv Aniyim v'Yisayim. David Sheshebenchos, one of the pshatim for Titus Esther, is a person fasts. I bet the Eibishter Shlo Yovoy Nichshol, when a person, it should be his man of Aliyah, it should be his man of Simcha. It's interesting. The Satmar Rebbe writes, Vos meint achsidish Yid? The Satmar Rebbe writes, achsidish Yid is a Yid that's moise nefesh to Mekayim every din in Shulchan Aruch, and moise nefesh to help in our zweite Yid. A Yid goes into the outlook of Purim. This Purim, I'm going to try to be Mesameach, even while I'm driving somewhere. A person picks up his phone and he calls someone. I'd like to wish you a happy Purim. I'm thinking about you. You should have a zman of Simcha. You should have a zman of Bracha. The Eibishter benching this Shabbos is a zman to daven. The Eibishter gave us a zman of Simcha, so the Messiah has to always be not to be B'Simcha. A person asks Hashem, Rebbeinu Shalom, we live in a door with so much tzar, so much pain, so much inner pain. Rebbeinu Shalom. A person asks for himself. He asks for his family. We should be zoichet azman, a pnimiyas nika simcha, azman for a person zoichet to drink. What was the Baal cries of the Rebbe used to love watching B'nai Torah drink? Because what do you see? You see the nichnas yain. He couldn't get enough of it. He's just to watch B'nai Torah, watching the Erlich Yid, where the feelings of the Yid comes out, the feelings of coming closer to the Eibishter. A Yid that spends his whole day thinking of other Yidden, then when that Yid sits together with chaveirim and that Yid drinks together, then that Yid has a pnimiyas nika simcha, or the simcha from coming closer to the Eibishter. The Eibishter should bench us with his man of simcha, his man of aliyah, his man of thinking of other people. The Eibishter should bench us with a Shabbos of coming closer to the Eibishter, a Shabbos of v'tahar libenu l'avdcha.